My name is Takato Kita. I am a consultant at Funai Consulting in Japan. My father owns a small construction company. As a kid, I saw him enjoy his work and make his own choices. But when business was bad, our family life got tough. That memory shaped how I think about business. After college, I joined Funai Consulting. We help domestic small and mid-sized companies grow. I work only with solar and battery companies. What is special about my role is I do everything: strategy, marketing, sales training, even door-to-door sales. I don't just give advice, I go to the field myself. In about 2 years, I was promoted, top 5% among 140 new hires. My best result is helping a client double their revenue. But I also found my limits. I could grow sales, but I am weak in financial planning and people management. I need a stronger base for decision-making. That is why I want to get my MBA. My goal is to build a personalized healthcare platform using AI, one that recommends the right supplements, diet, and habits based on each person's lifestyle. This comes from my own experience. I struggled with obesity since I was 10, and nutrition changed my life. My uncle runs a health-related manufacturing company in Iowa, so I already have a real starting point. Why do you want an MBA? My father runs a small construction company. When business was bad, he worked long hours, but money was still tight. My mother did not understand why he was working so hard but still struggling. They both suffered, and as a child, I watched them fight because of that stress. That memory never left me. I decided that if I ever run a business, I need to understand the full picture, not just sales, but money, people, and systems. As a consultant, I didn't just make plans. I went to the field, did sales myself, trained client teams, and tracked every number. One of my clients doubled their revenue through the strategy I built. I was promoted in the top 5% among 140 new hires. But I hit a wall. I could grow revenue, but I couldn't design the financial side or keep a team healthy. I could see problems, but I didn't have the tools to fix them. The MBA will give me those tools, so that when I start my own business, my family will never go through what my parents did. Why do you want Iowa State? The biggest reason is personal. My uncle runs a lactic acid bacteria company called ProbioFerm in Iowa. His factory is here. I want to start a healthcare business after the MBA, so having a real healthcare manufacturer nearby means I can take what I learn in class and go check it in a real factory. I can talk to my uncle about supply chain, manufacturing, and business decisions. That's something no other school can give me. Second, I like how Iowa State teaches. The MBA uses small teams for core classes. In my consulting work, I always got the best results by working closely with a small group, not alone. I want to learn that way again. And SciBiz Nahab lets students work on real company problems. I've been a consultant for 2 years, so I know that solving real problems is the fastest way to learn. I want to bring my experience and also learn from others. Third, Iowa State's curriculum fills exactly what I am missing. I am not strong in finance. I can grow revenue, but I need to learn how to manage the money side properly. Iowa State's finance and accounting courses will fix that gap directly. Why now? I got promoted in about 2 years, top 5% among 140 new hires. I helped a client double their revenue. I built an AI training program for over 80 people. I have real results now. But I can feel myself reaching a ceiling. Many of my clients are owner-run companies where the CEO does everything: sales, numbers, people. I can help them grow revenue, but when it comes to developing their people or building a team that runs without the CEO, I don't have the skills. That gap will not close by doing more of the same work. Also, I have a personal reason. I've been overweight since I was about 10. As a kid, I played soccer and my parents fed me a lot. After I stopped playing, the weight stayed. For years, I had no confidence. Then I started studying nutrition, learning what my body actually needed: more protein, more fiber, the right supplements. My body changed, and so did my mind. That experience gave me a clear goal.
I want to build a personalized healthcare business so others don't have to figure it out alone like I did. My uncle already runs a health-related company in Iowa, so the sooner I build my skills, the sooner I can act. If I wait, I only delay my goal. Now is the time. What are your short-term and long-term career goals? My long-term goal is to build a personalized healthcare platform using AI. Everyone's body and lifestyle are different, but most people just pick supplements randomly. My platform will analyze a person's lifestyle, diet, and health data, then recommend exactly what they need, the right supplements, the right dosage, and the best combinations, all within their budget. Revenue will come from supplement referral fees. Over time, I want to expand into areas like sleep and bring Japanese health products like matcha and natto to the global market. This is personal. I was overweight since childhood and had no confidence. Nutrition changed my life. In consulting, I see so many people sacrificing their health for work. I want to help those hard-working professionals take care of themselves, not with guesswork, but with science tailored to each person. My uncle already runs a health-related company in Iowa, so the sooner I build my skills, the sooner I can act. Short-term, I want to work in the U.S. healthcare industry first. I need to understand how the market works from the inside. After that, I plan to launch my company here with a team of 5 to 10 people and eventually expand to Japan. This plan may evolve during the MBA, but the direction is clear. Personalized healthcare through AI and nutrition, that will not change. What is your Plan B? Honestly, I don't have a Plan B school. Iowa State is my first choice because of the team-based learning, SciBiz Lab, and especially my uncle's company in Iowa. No other school gives me that combination. If I don't get in, it means my skills aren't ready yet. Specifically, I think the gap would be in my financial knowledge or my ability to explain my vision clearly in English. I'll go back to work, focus on closing those gaps, and try again. The goal of starting my own business will not change. What are your greatest strengths and weaknesses? My strength is that I turn feedback into a system. My boss told me my KPI tracking was weak. Most people would fix it for one project. I built a sheet that worked for all 15 of my clients. One lesson became a tool for everyone. That's how I think, not just fix, but build. My weakness is that I think faster than I explain. I jump to the answer but skip the steps when I talk to others. My boss pointed this out. Now I force myself to write down my thinking before meetings. I also talk to people when I'm stuck, not just to get advice, but because saying things out loud helps me understand my own thoughts better. The MBA's team environment will push me to improve this even more. How will I contribute to our community? I can bring 2 things to the classroom. First, a real business owner's perspective. I worked at a large firm, but I spent my days with small company CEOs. For example, I once sat with a CEO who was afraid to raise prices because he thought customers would leave. We looked at the data together, found that his best customers valued quality over price, and raised prices for premium services. Revenue went up, and no customers left. I have dozens of stories like this. In class discussions, I can share not just strategy, but what the person running the business is actually thinking and feeling. Second, a different market perspective. Most classmates will know the U.S. market well. I come from the Japanese small business market. How customers buy, how companies grow, how owners think, these are very different in Japan. Comparing those differences will help everyone see business from a wider angle, including myself. What feedback have you received that was difficult to hear? My boss told me, "You care about the client, but you're too soft. You wait for them to move instead of pushing them." That was hard to hear because I thought I was being respectful. But he was right. One of my clients was entering a new market and made almost no progress in a year. I kept giving advice, but I never set deadlines or pushed back when they were slow. After that feedback, I changed. I started setting clear timelines with every client. I followed up weekly instead of waiting. I learned that being patient is not always kind. Sometimes the most helpful thing is to push.
10. What would your colleagues/managers say about you? I think they would say I am honest, positive, and always learning. Honest, when my boss gives me tough feedback, I do not argue. I listen and act the next day. I think that is the fastest way to grow. Positive, even when things go wrong, I look for what I can learn. I do not stay down for long. When I feel stressed, I go to boxing. It clears my head completely and I come back with fresh energy. That keeps me and my team moving. Always learning. I started an AI training program by myself. Nobody asked me to. I just found something useful and wanted to share it. They would also say I need to slow down and explain my thinking more. I sometimes jump to the answer without showing the steps. I'm working on it. 11. Tell me about a time you led a team. I ran a community of about 40 solar company CEOs with a small team of 4. Our leader was busy, so my colleague and I were doing almost everything. I felt a danger. If we left, it would fall apart. That is not leadership, that's just being busy. So I did 2 things. First, I gave each member a clear number to own. Before, the goal was just run the community. Too vague. I made it specific. One person's goal was 70% trial to member conversion. Second, I let junior members run events by themselves. Quality dropped at first, but they needed to practice. After a few months, they could run it without me, and we hit the 70% target. I learned that real leadership is building a system that works without you. Describe a time you had to deal with a conflict in a team. A CEO I worked with had a plan he really believed in. He had already decided the target customer. But when I looked at the data, the target didn't make sense. The market was too small, and the customer profile didn't match the company's strength. I had a choice: agree and keep the relationship comfortable, or push back and risk making him upset. I chose to push back. I showed him the numbers and explained my thinking step by step. I was careful not to say, "You were wrong." Instead, I said, "Let me show you what the data says." He was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Okay, let us rethink this." We rebuilt the plan together. After that, he actually trusted me more, not less. Describe a time you worked with a difficult person. I had a client who was very impatient. Every meeting, he wanted the answer right away. I like to explain the background first. Here's the problem, here's why, here's what to do. But he would cut me off and say, "Just tell me the action." At first, I was frustrated. I felt like he was not respecting my process. But then I realized, this is not about me, it's about what works for him. So I changed everything. I sent the background by email before the meeting. In the meeting, I only talked about actions. After the meeting, I sent a written summary to make sure we agreed. It worked much better. He got what he needed, and I made sure nothing was missed. The lesson was simple. Don't force your style on others. Find the way that works for them. Describe a time you worked with a diverse team. During my exchange at Northern Arizona University, I was in a group project about nonverbal communication around the world. My English was not strong enough to lead or present well, so instead of pretending, I asked myself, where can I add the most value? The answer was research. I knew Asian culture well, so I focused on researching nonverbal communication in Asian countries, things like how silence, eye contact, and bowing carry meaning in Japan, Korea, and China. I shared my findings with the team daily through chat. The team used my research as the core of the Asia section in our presentation. Our professor specifically praised that section for its depth. The project got a high grade, and my teammates thanked me for filling a gap they couldn't cover. I learned something I still use today. Don't try to be good at everything. Find where you add the most value and go all in. Describe a time you failed. I was managing 15 clients at the same time. One of them was entering the solar business for the first time. After a full year, they only had 1 contract. That was my failure. The problem was me. I was too soft. The client was slow to move, and I let them set the pace. I kept waiting for them instead of pushing them. But a new business needs momentum. Waiting doesn't build momentum. After I realized this, I changed my style completely. I started setting clear deadlines. I followed up more. When the client was stuck, I pushed them forward instead of just giving advice. Since then, I never made that mistake again. I learned that being nice is not the same as being helpful. Sometimes pushing is the kindest thing you can do. Describe a time you faced a difficult challenge or problem at work. I was supporting a client whose sales were growing fast, but the team was breaking down. There were only 2 salespeople and the workload doubled. They started making mistakes, missing follow-ups, and losing motivation. The problem was my approach. I pushed revenue growth but didn't plan for the people side. I should have raised the hiring issue earlier. When I noticed, I did 2 things. First, I told the CEO directly, "Your team can't keep this pace. We need to hire before we grow more." He resisted at first because hiring costs money, but I showed him the numbers. Missed follow-ups were already costing more than a new hire would. He agreed. And second, I helped restructure task assignments so the existing team could survive until the new person started. The team stabilized and the new hire was onboarded within 2 months. I learned that revenue means nothing if the people behind it burn out. Describe a time you had to make a difficult decision. Leaving Funai Consulting for the MBA. I was doing well, top 5% among 140 new hires, good bosses who believed in me, clients who trusted me. One client even put my name on their company organization chart at their annual meeting. That's how close we were. If I stayed, the next few years looked safe and clear. But safe was not my goal. I want to start my own business, and I knew that if I stayed, I'd keep growing the same skills: marketing, sales, consulting. But building a team, designing an organization, making decisions when there's no clear answer, I couldn't learn those at Funai. My boss said, "We'll miss you, but we support you." That was both comforting and painful. In the end, I asked myself one question: 10 years from now, which choice will I regret? The answer was clear. I would regret staying. Describe a time you faced an ethical dilemma. A client CEO was planning to hire a family member for a key sales role. The person had no sales experience. The CEO wanted my support, but I could see this would hurt the team. This was not a data problem, it was a relationship problem. I couldn't just show numbers this time, so I changed my approach. I asked the CEO, "What do you want this role to achieve in 1 year?" He described a very ambitious sales target. Then I asked, "Does this person have the experience to hit that target?" He went quiet. I didn't say, "Don't hire them." I let him reach the conclusion himself by asking the right questions. A week later, he told me he would hire based on skills. I learned that sometimes the best way to change someone's mind is not to tell them, it's to help them think. Tell me about a time you disagreed with your boss or company policy. I didn't have a big disagreement with my boss, but I felt a growing gap between what I was doing and what I believed clients needed. Funai is great at one thing: taking success stories and applying them to other companies. That works well for marketing and customer growth, but some of my clients were growing sales and still struggling. The CEO was doing everything: sales, hiring, training, with no plan for what to stop or let go. I started to think that just growing is not enough. Companies also need to know when to pull back, restructure, or even exit a business line. I didn't blame the company. Funai's model works for what it does, but I realized I needed more than what the company could teach me. That gap is honestly one of the main reasons I decided to pursue the MBA. 20. What clubs or activities do you want to join? I want to join MBA SMA to connect with other MBA students and build a strong network. I also want to join the Entrepreneur Club because my goal is to launch a personalized healthcare platform after the MBA. I want to start working on that business plan during school and learn from other students who are also building something. Outside of business, I would like to join the Japanese Association. They teach Japanese language and culture to other students. As a Japanese person, I can help share my culture and connect with people interested in Japan. And for fun, I play tennis. ISU has a tennis club, so I would love to join that too. 21. How will you balance academics and recruiting? I plan to do both. After the MBA, I want to work in the U.S. healthcare industry first to understand the market before starting my own business, so job searching is part of my plan. During the MBA, I will also start preparing my business idea through the Entrepreneur Club and classes, but that's preparation, not a rush to launch. My rule is simple. Study comes first. Job search happens around it. 22. Why pursue an MBA instead of continuing in consulting? This is a question I asked myself many times. Funai taught me a lot: marketing, sales, how to work with CEOs, how to run projects. But Funai's model is based on sharing success stories between companies. It's very practical, but it stays in the same area, mostly marketing growth. What I can't learn at Funai is how money really works in a business. For example, one of my clients invested in new equipment at the wrong time, and suddenly they couldn't pay their bills even though sales were strong.
I could see the problem, but I did not know how to prevent it or fix it. Cash flow planning, investment timing, financial risk, these are things I need to learn properly. I tried to study while working, but there is no time. 15 clients, travel, meetings, every day is full. I realized I needed to stop and go deep. The MBA is not a break from work. It is an investment in a different kind of skill. Starting a business is a lot like working with small companies. You have no money, no brand, and a tiny team. That is exactly what I've been doing for 2 years. I know how to get results when resources are limited. At my clients, there was no big budget for marketing. I had to find creative, low-cost ways to grow. That is what a startup founder does every day. I also did everything myself: strategy, sales, training, tracking numbers, fixing problems. When you start a company, nobody else does these things for you. I'm used to that. And maybe the most valuable thing, I talked to CEOs every month from my first year. I saw how they think, how they worry, how they decide. When I become a CEO myself, those conversations will be in my head, guiding me. I want to start a healthcare business after the MBA. Are there students or alumni who have launched their own companies? I would love to hear how ISU supported them. In my consulting work, I learned the most when I worked closely with a small team. How do the team dynamics work in the core classes? Do students stay in the same team throughout the program? I'm interested in working in the U.S. healthcare industry after graduation. What kind of career support does ISU offer for international students looking for jobs in the U.S.? Why AI? Because my goal is personalization. Every person's body is different, and I believe the fastest way to deliver truly personalized recommendations is through AI. It can process someone's lifestyle, diet, health data, and budget all at once and find the best combination. A human expert cannot do that at scale. My interest in AI started at work when I built an AI training program for my team. I saw how powerful it is as a tool. But for me, AI is not the goal. Personalization is. AI is just the fastest way to get there. Yes, I have studied this market. There are several players, but I think each one teaches me something different. In the U.S., Care of was the biggest name. Bayer bought them for $225 million, but they shut down in 2024. I studied why. On the surface, it was a funding problem, but the real reasons were deeper. First, Bayer was losing money from Monsanto lawsuits and cut Care of as a cost. Second, Care of's personalization was shallow, just a quiz. Third, their DTC subscription model had high customer drop-off and high advertising costs. And when they moved into retail stores like Target, they lost the personalized experience that made them special. I learned 3 things from this. 1, do not depend on one big investor. 2, personalization must be deep, based on real data, not just a quiz. And 3, keep the business lean. My benchmark is actually Bionic. They use blood test data to create truly personalized supplements. They raised $15 million in Series B and are growing, but their price is $150 to $300 per month. That is too expensive for busy working professionals, my target customer. In Japan, VitaNote uses urine tests to analyze nutrition, and Grande puts AI supplement servers in gyms.
Both are interesting, but neither targets what I want to solve: hardworking people who ignore their health because they are too busy. My approach is different in 3 ways. First, I use AI to analyze lifestyle data, not just a quiz, but without requiring expensive blood tests, accessible but accurate. Second, I optimize not just what to take, but combinations and budget. Within your budget, this is the best plan for you. And third, I plan to start in the US and expand to Japan, bringing Japanese health products like matcha and natto into the platform. My uncle's lactic acid bacteria company in Iowa gives me a real supply chain from day one.